For NJ Advanced Media, I am Connor Hughes. One of the biggest parts of the collegiate evaluation process will take place this week. All 32 NFL teams, obviously the Jets included, will meet in Indianapolis at Lucas Oil Stadium for the 2018 NFL Scouting Combine. The teams will have a chance to watch the top players and top prospects in the 2018 draft go through football drills, height, weight, measurables, the 40-yard dash, all that fun stuff. And they'll also get a chance to meet a decent amount of them with individual and private meetings. This is kind of one of the biggest and final fine-tuning that teams will get to solidify their draft board. You know, this is when they really start to figure out the guys that they want to target in the NFL draft. And then obviously they finish those evaluations up at the pro days in a couple weeks and the ensuing months. So with the Jets headed down to Indy and this kind of an off season where they're at a crossroad where they're either going to become a playoff contender or some guys are going to start losing their jobs, what should the focus for New York be down in Indy? Well, it's going to be a little bit of everything. You know, this is kind of a weird off season for the Jets, and specifically a very weird draft, because you don't really know where the Jets are going to go, and you don't really know what they're going to do yet. You've got to see basically what happens with Kirk Cousins in free agency before you say the Jets are targeting this guy, the Jets are targeting that guy, because that number 6 pick can be used in so many different ways. You know, if the Jets are able to get Kirk Cousins to New York and they're able to convince him to sign with them over potentially the Minnesota Vikings, Denver Broncos, or a slew of other teams, well, suddenly they don't need to go with a quarterback with the number 6 pick. They can go with Minkah Fitzpatrick. They can try to move up maybe and take Saquon Barkley. They can look into potentially grabbing a defensive end or maybe Quentin Nelson, the offensive guard from Notre Dame. I mean, all those guys are in play. So too is trading back, because once the Jets have their quarterback, well, maybe there's another team interested in Josh Allen or Baker Mayfield that wants to trade up with the Jets, which would allow the Jets to trade back and target somebody like Mike Hughes, the cornerback from UCF, maybe Arden Key, the pass rusher from LSU, maybe Calvin Ridley, the wide receiver from Alabama. The Jets could trade back and target any number of those guys because, again, they'd have their quarterback. But if the Jets cannot get Kirk Cousins to sign with them in free agency, and instead he goes to Minnesota, well, suddenly priority number 1, 2, and 3 for the Jets in the draft is find a way to get a quarterback. So that either means staying put at number 6 or moving up potentially to number 3 with the Indianapolis Colts, or number 4 with the Cleveland Browns, where they can get their hands on a guy like Sam Darnold at USC, or Josh Rosen, UCLA, or Allen, as we were talking about before, potentially Baker Mayfield. We don't know. The Jets would have to move up to go get their quarterback. So when they're going here to Indianapolis and they're heading down to Indy and they're starting to scout these players, they're really doing it with their eyes wide open, because there are so many different ways this thing can play out. And the Jets really aren't going to know which way things are going to go until they can figure out what's going to happen in the Kirk Cousins sweepstakes. So they'll be scouting the quarterbacks to figure out what they've got there in Josh Rosen. You know, is he going to check the off-field boxes that they need? You know, same goes for Baker Mayfield. They're going to get an evaluation on Lamar Jackson to see if he's really a guy that they believe can be a franchise quarterback. Same with Sam Darnold. You know, he didn't have the best collegiate season this year. Can he be the guy? There are so many things the Jets can look at, because they're going to be looking at the quarterbacks. They're going to be looking at running backs, defenders, offensive linemen, everything, because at this point in time, there's no guarantee with what the Jets are doing. They can go so many different ways, and at the NFL Combine, they're going to be preparing for every one of them. For NJ Advanced Media, I'm Connor Hughes.